Hello everyone, I'm back to inspire you. The theme of this video is, I thought he or she would never do it. Well, make no mistake, he or she might do it, they're thinking about doing it, and they will do it. We cannot be ignorant to the fact that if someone's not washing, and they're not eating, and they're talking down all the time, and they're depressed, and they're isolated, that we need to look a little further in and look at what's happening. Sometimes we can't soft touch our way through this no matter how much we listen. My name is Dan PELLY, inspirational speaker for suicide awareness and prevention, and I'm a 2-time attempted suicide survivor, and I'm not proud of it. I think life is precious. We shouldn't be taking it. I made a mistake twice. I don't want to go for a third time. Okay, it's been some years for me, but I finally come out with my program and overcoming the shame and the stigma of that shame and embarrassment of my life, of doing something like this, that the people we would leave devastated, from these suicide walks I go on, and their brother or sister or mother or father or sons or daughters or grandkids, friends and lovers and whatever it is, it's just relentless that the negative forces that are going on and people that are losing loved ones to suicide. So I watch a lot of awareness and prevention. I get involved, and I felt there was something missing of getting to the person that's in isolation that might not come to a walk, which they're wonderful. Awareness and prevention is everything. We must be aware of our loved ones that are struggling, or our friends. And that's why this theme is so important, because if you think that person, and we don't want to be shocked after the fact that, geez, I'm human. I even think the same thing after my 2-time attempts. I hear about a person like a strong person. I'm a football fan. Junior say I'm not much of a football fan these days, but I was. And, I have my own opinions about things, of course. But anyway, he killed himself, Junior Seahar, and I was like, wow, he's such a good guy, strong guy. And had leakage in there and depression, and he had problems, and just thought he would never do it. Well, we better start waking up, people. We better start waking up that our loved one is suffering and that he may do it. Like, why do you want to kill yourself? You got a whole second half, or, you got another life to live, or you got another girl to get, or another guy to get, another partner to get. And, we can't become so apprehensive. And here's the big thing for me is, and I wish someone was on that other side when I was really in that moment. And that moment was a while for me, it took months of ideology and the contemplating and the agonizing and if you listen to my other videos where I've been. So, I've been struggling to make the video. I had some tragedy in my own life. I lost my mom 6 months ago, 82, one of my best friends. And I just lost my dog, Petey. I adopted at 9 months. Agonizing, heartbroken, he's not around, and he was like this with me, and we were just so close. And I lost a cousin, Joanne, and I'm chanting. I'm a Buddhist. I'm chanting for eternal happiness. I've been practicing 9 years. It has raised my life condition immensely. This is not to get anybody to practice religion, but what it does for my life condition, okay? Because I've been there twice, 96 and 2010, okay? And these times were very severe. And realizing I have to break through this karma, and I've been climbing the happiness hill for about 7 years. I've had my troubles and my sufferings like now, and now's the time when you are suffering to take that step forward and reach out. And this has been my medicine and turning my poison into medicine. And let's talk about who you're seeing right now: the mother, the father, the brother, the son. That something's wrong. Something's happening with them. That they don't want to live, okay? A friend, whoever it is. What do? Do we just call the 800 number and, we tell them to talk about their problems? Of course, we have to let it out, see a counselor. I see my counselor once a month. I'm not, it's very good. Like, the therapy is different, right, than spiritual. So there's a back and forth. So I recommend it for anybody to check in on yourself. But the main thing is we're watching somebody suffering, and I'm thinking of myself when I was suffering, and who's watching me, and because no one knows when you're going to make that fatal decision, okay? And you can do it. I mean, it's like, if you're going to make it, you're going to make it, right? No one's going to stop you. But can there be some intervention, like they do with the drugs and everything that goes on? And my big thing is, I'm pretty bold like this, where I've walked up to people that I know have been suicidal and look right at them, and not to put them, to shock them, but hey, I'm your friend, I'm your brother, I'm your sister, I'm your brother, and this, you're my sister, or this is that one or that one. And it's like, whoever you're going to go up to and say, because they've been struggling, are you thinking about killing yourself? The tough line to say, right? Because you don't want to embarrass a person. You feel like apprehensive to say it. But I'm for that one line to really get yourself in front of this person. I don't care what day it is, how many times they thought about it. If you feel strongly that they're on the verge, are you thinking about killing yourself today? Because if you are, I'm here for you. I will stand by your side so you don't make a fatal psychotic decision and be irrational when you're making it. And I will take you to the doctors. I will call 911. I will get you help. No one wants to be stuck on a 5th floor or you're being evaluated. But I know people are against that, but when you're in a clinical state of depression, or that person is, they need to be hospitalized. They need to have medical treatment. There's no doubt about it. Certain states like Massachusetts I'm in, they have a law of 3 days. Sometimes, they're premature. And it puts people into more shock that they feel like, hey, I'm with all these people that are sick. Well, there's someone sicker than you. But, I dreaded being there in 2010 and 96. But I said, what's happening here? What do I need to see? How can I help this other person beside me that life is precious? And that, we miss so much. We miss so much. Yeah, Dan, you're happy now. When you're down, you're not thinking that way. Of course not. When I was in my ideology and I was in it for a year and a half and I got clinical and the world was black and dark and I couldn't see past this far, I've been there and I know that feeling, that 800-pound gorilla of depression that I want to wipe out, because and my dream and my goal is, and I've always been a dreamer even before I became a Buddhist, to reduce the suicide rate by 30%, because it's going up from 30,000 to 45,000. So I'm trying to make these efforts. I'm trying to get out there for people because I'm proof. I'm no special person. I'm no better than you. I'm just bringing my experience to the table, because this is the kind of dialogue that we need and what we have in our life, to know that these are the things that I'm going to have to do to get myself out of this. But it's very important about thinking of that when I go up to someone and say, geez, I didn't think she would ever do it. No, they will do it. Let's not kid ourselves, people. All right? Let's not kid ourselves. No matter how much we soft soap it, I ain't saying get angry and, you got to get stern with somebody. And you have to admonish them in some way of that. You have to make some steps. You can't stay isolated. You can't stay in this position, because you're going to get into a psychotic state and want to kill yourself. So as we're moving into, of course, medical treatment or antidepressants, chemical imbalance, there's a lot of things going on, and making like this little list. I tell people about making the little list, like getting up and washing and all the things you've heard in my videos, and making your own efforts to take that step, because if you don't, you're never going to come out of it. You're going to stay depressed till the moment comes that, you make a bad decision. So as you're working, looking at yourself and loathing yourself, and you got no self-love, and you hate what's happening, and everything that's going on, let me tell you something. The little bit of hope that I had left, which was very little at the time of both times this occurred, that little bit of hope is this big, because it keeps you in the game. It keeps you in it. Now, some people, who wants to be in this life? This life sucks. No, there's good and bad. I believe there's more good and bad. That's just my opinion. You can have your state of mind right in your own environment, no matter if you're in a cardboard box or you're in a place. It's not your environment. It's not your environment matters. You have to win right where you are. But that's not the problem. Running off into the mountains and praying, or going on vacation, enjoying yourself, that you got to escape. Of course, we all need rest and relaxation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the I got to escape attitude. You know, you're not going to find paradise on the other side. You know, you want ultimate happiness, you're going to have to work for it. Relative happens for all of us. It's a good thing. We get good things, we get cars, we get relationships. You know, we get beautiful things that enrich us. But what happens when things fall and things don't work out and things, you know, get crushed? You get crushed and all these things, or we lose people, we lose our loved ones. You know, the four truths for us is birth, old age, sickness, and death. None of us are escaping it. But how do we want to live our life as we go? You have a mission. You can turn your poison into medicine. You can find your passion, you know. And I wish I had someone back then in '96 where the services were very limited for me. And I was yearning and running and wanting someone to help me. But here, what I realized in the end of it all, or the beginning and the end and the middle, that nobody is going to do this for me. No matter how much I lament and I tell them my sad story, they are not going to do it for me. I don't care how much medication I was on, 5 meds at one time. I'm med free these days, but I'm grateful for that the past 7 years. Doesn't mean I wouldn't get on a med again if I felt I was getting into a depressed state. I'm for, you know, getting the right doctors, right dentist. And well, that was a shout out to somebody that's been very inspiring to me. And you know, like all the things we got to find in our life. You know, we don't want a bad doctor, we don't want a bad dentist, we don't want a bad therapist. You know, there's good and bad out there. But when we find the right therapist, and we find the right mix to help our depression, and we find the right balance that's going on, you know, I'm very passionate about healing and getting better, and not watching people for year after year after year, and it's just they're lamenting in their pain and suffering, and I feel so bad because they're missing out. They're missing out of something you can overcome, but you're gonna have to, it ain't pull yourself up by the bootstraps, get tough. You know, we're not talking about getting tough. Yes, do you have to have some courage? Do you have to have some courage? You're gonna have to muster up some courage in your life, because nobody's gonna do it for you. Although those people are watching over you, and they might even be asking you, you thinking about killing yourself today, and you're lying to them. You know, you're telling them, no, I'm good, I'm all set. I know, I've been there. And that's all I'm thinking about is when and where and how. And it's repetitive, and it's relentless. And we keep going and going until we commit a very fatal act for a long-term solution for short-term problems, okay? And when you read other stories about people that have jumped or hurt themselves or try to kill themselves, or people that have been successful, you know, when you commit the act, and I've heard this from another suicide survivor that I listened to, is when you're committing the act, you realize, like when I did, and you listen to my video, when I ingested, you'll see one of my videos on my top 6 videos. It's after the fact that I wanted to die so bad, I wanted to live so bad, and realize this is minor compared to what I just tried to do to myself. Divorce, business loss of life, whatever's going on, a loss of a child, worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. I'm not saying that happened to me, but all of this is very devastating, that can take people into a place they never want to be, okay? Because it's a rotten place to be, suicide. It's a rotten disease. It just rots people's life till they do what they want to do. And I'm here to inspire to know that you can overcome. I'm not sitting here boasting saying, hey, you know, just be happy tomorrow. You know, it took me a couple of years to work through programs, be humble, you know, really accept what was going on and all these things that were happening. So let's get back to the fact that I thought he or she would never do it. And you know they might. So this is where you got to get that sentence out. Are you thinking about killing yourself? What can I do to support you? I care about you. I love you. I want things to work for you. And it's very important. as far as making contact with that person in isolation. I had a support system. You know, you have to have a support system. Reach out to who you think will support you the best. Sometimes we can't do it alone. We're not Superman, Superwoman. Wonder Woman, all that. The movies are movies. Sometimes we need that support. We need to reach out for another person to give us that guidance and to give us that encouragement and get on with it. And then once you become stronger, you need them less and less. But don't think that you can't come out of this as you sit in darkness. Just going to check the time of the video. I'm at 15 minutes. Geez, I didn't think I went on that long. I hope I was inspiring for you. And I will read this because I actually want to announce that I've come up from a suicide walk about a month ago with my collaborator administrator Jenna, and I'm going to start a program. Okay, and the program call letters is ASPG, Attempted Suicide Prevention Group, to really get in the trenches and have dialogue with people so they know life is precious and we can listen to each other and we can support each other in a confidential group. It's going to be held each Wednesday starting November 8th at 7:30 at St. Bernard's Church. And I'll read the address: 236 Lincoln Street, Worcester, Mass. The side entrance at 5 Hollow Street, second floor, that you would come up to. So it's St. Bernard's Church, 236 Lincoln Street, Worcester, Mass. Side entrance, 5 Hollow Street, second floor, starting November 8th. And weekly, unless we announce we're not going to be there one week. So I did want to announce that, and as the founder of the ASPG, Attempted Suicide Prevention Group. And I just think this topic was very important to get people's attention, that don't sit back and think they won't. Get in there and be stern with somebody. And also, I want to read this. You must never slacken in your efforts to build new lives for yourself. Creativeness means pushing open the heavy door to life. This is not an easy struggle. Indeed, it may be the hardest task in the world, for opening the door to your own life is more difficult than opening the doors to the mystery of the universe. And the one quote that's helped me immensely: when your determination changes, everything else begins to move in the direction you desire. The moment you resolve to be victorious, every nerve and fiber in your being immediately orientates itself towards your success. My name is Dan PELLY, inspirational speaker, and my motto is your life matters, never give up. And I'll see you next month, and I hope to see you at the Suicide Prevention Group. Have a wonderful night. Love yourself, care about yourself, and keep taking that one step forward. You can do it. Ciao.